as we speak. Shawan.
Well, thank you very much, Kishalay, for getting us the latest details on this. Is exclusive. We're tracking the story very closely. As and when we get more details, viewers will get you all the latest updates. Now, the other big story that we're getting for you tonight. Now, this is the usual Pakistan modus operandi. For years, Pakistan government has been trying to absolve itself of any blame in harboring terror. As the FATF team visited Pakistan, a 15-member team, a desperate Shehbaz government is trying to mislead the global task force and the entire world on the whereabouts of 2611 mastermind and Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar. Here's how Pakistan has been peddling lies on Masood Azhar, and then the big Republic exposure.
Since 2018, Pakistan has been in the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force for its inaction over terror. Successive governments in Pakistan have been unable to pull the troubled nation out of the grey list. But as a 15-member FATF team visited Pakistan to review the nation's progress, the Shehbaz government resorted to its desperate tactics to mislead the global task force. Pakistani media reports the Shehbaz government has written a letter to Afghanistan on the man behind the 2611 Mumbai terror attack, Masood Azhar. Interestingly, Pakistan has demanded the Afghan government to arrest the JEM chief. Pakistan claims he is hiding in the Nangarhar province. These claims made amid the international pressure on Pakistan to act on terror outfits. But Republic tells you how Pakistan has been trying to mislead the FATF and the global community on its role in providing a safe haven to terrorists. The Pakistan government claims that Masood Azhar is untraceable in the country. However, the JEM chief seems to be very active on Pakistani social media platforms, where he exhorts the JEM cadre to indulge in jihad and eulogizes the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. Pakistan claims Masood Azhar is hiding in Afghanistan. But is there any truth to Pakistan's claims? Republic Media Network's senior editor Shawan Sen gets you more.
Well, in fact, this does not come across as a surprise. But here on Republic TV, we are going to now put out the truth. Remember the 15-member FATF team, which was in Pakistan just about a few days ago, starting from 29th of August till about September 2nd is what we are being told. They were looking at the 37-point action plan, whether at all Pakistan had implemented those or not. It does appear that there was a deliberate attempt to mislead the FATF team that was camping in Pakistan. In fact, let's just put out the breaking news coming in, and then we'll also go across to our colleagues Abhishek Kapoor, who's joining us from the Delhi newsroom, and Gursapran. In fact, let's put out the breaking news right now that's coming in. The latest coming in from Kabul. The Afghanistan government has now exposed the Pakistan lie on 2611 mastermind Masood Azhar. Afghan government's information minister says, and I quote, Jaish-e-Mohammed is a group under the support of the government of Pakistan. Its existence in Afghanistan is not true. Media reports about the presence of their leader in Afghanistan are false. We'll stay with these breaking news now coming in. Let me just quickly bring in my colleague Abhishek, who's joining us on this broadcast. Abhishek, we've been at the forefront trying to expose the lies that have been peddled by the Pakistan government. But what's even more important is that this comes at a time when FATF team was present in Pakistan, and it's extremely crucial ahead of the session in Paris in October. It appears that a desperate Pakistan is just simply trying to mislead them. Do you think that the FATF would essentially buy this entire argument that action has already been taken?
Well, a lot of complex events are at play here, Shawan. So we don't know whether this is connected with the IMF loan, this is connected with the FATF grey listing, this is connected with the F-16 maintenance order that has been released by the Americans to facilitate, Pakistani F-16 fleet renewal. there could be many layers within what has happened. Also remember, this is happening in the backdrop of change of regime itself in Pakistan. So all those things taken together give us an impression that this is yet another attempt by the Pakistani state, only with a difference that possibly, just possibly, the Americans are blinking this time or looking the other way. Remember the reports that when Ayman al-Zawahiri was eliminated, the Pakistanis had in fact facilitated it by giving their Shamsi air base for the drone strike. So, all those things are there. But what is important is that for me, looking at this development, it is clear that not everything is right between the Taliban and the Pakistani deep state. Their sugar daddies essentially, and their falling out is going to have consequences for the stability of the region. So irrespective of whether Masood Azhar is in Bahawalpur in the safe house guarded by ISI agents and the Pakistani military, or he's in Nangahar and Kunar, the districts marked out by Pakistanis as the possible hideouts of Masood Azhar, or tomorrow for that matter, if Masood Azhar also is found eliminated. Remember, he's someone who's wanted, is a global terrorist, and so apart from India, other agencies also might be after him. Whether the Pakistanis have really pawned him for their bailout, given the distress that Pakistani economy is facing, I think we have to watch out for that. But as I said, for me, the takeaway is the clear falling out that has happened between the Taliban regime and the Pakistani state. Shawan.
Well, in fact, we're just staying with this breaking news coming in. We're just also getting in more inputs right now, Abhishek. But what's very interesting to point out here is that the Afghanistan government has already put out the details. Perhaps Gursubran, I can also bring you in right now with regards to the inside details we are picking up. Inside details of how exactly Pakistan is shielding Masood Azhar. In fact, intel sources here in India essentially indicating that Masood Azhar is very much in Pakistan. He is perhaps in an ISI safe house is what we are being told, and it does match with what Afghanistan is essentially indicating. A short while back, Gursubran, Afghanistan putting out full details of the fact that this is yet another attempt that has been made by Pakistan to mislead the global task force.
See, Shawan, if we go by the statements that have been issued by the Afghanistan side on the Pakistan Today, two statements, first from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and then by the Interior and Culture Minister Zabiullah Mujahid. Clearly it says two things. First, that Jaish-e-Mohammed is getting the active support of the Pakistan establishment. Second, he is not in Afghanistan. And third, and very important thing, what they have said, that this kind of allegations will have implication on the relation of both the nations. Because see the timing of these allegations that are being made by the Pakistani side. We are exactly 33 days from the plenary and the working group meeting of the Financial Action Task Force, which is scheduled to meet in Paris and which is scheduled to draw a conclusion on the fate of Pakistan being in the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force. Last time there was an on-site verification of the Pakistan that was pending, that now has been conducted by the Financial Action Task Force, and now this gimmick coming from the Pakistani side saying that Masood Azhar could possibly be in the Nangarhar province of Afghanistan seems to be another plot of Pakistan eye-washing the global community so that they can get out of the Financial Action Task Force grey list. Because the way Pakistan has come out with a statement, but the Afghanistan side has put the facts straight that they are not giving shelter to any of the terror or the terrorist groups that are operating from any other land. And they have also said that these kind of allegations will have implication on the bilateral relation between the Afghanistan side and the Pakistani side, clearly giving Pakistan a tough reply, which Pakistan didn't expect it, because they were just trying to shift the responsibility of the Masood Azhar from their own to the Afghanistan side so that they can actually get off from the grey list. But what it seems as of now, that the Pakistan's lies that they were peddling in have been caught, and now the world community is watching that what Pakistan is up to. Shawan.
Let me also bring in our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor, has also been tracking this story very closely. Abhishek, when I spoke to some of my sources, very interestingly, they narrated that if you remember what happened in the case of Sajid Mir. Sajid Mir was dead for Pakistan for a very long time. Suddenly, there was a narrative that was peddled that he's been arrested. It seems it goes on the pretty much on similar lines. The Sajid Mir arrest drama that we saw in Pakistan.
Well, yes, Sajid Mir, Hafiz Saeed, others wanted by India, by the global community. Pakistan has turned into a safe haven for terrorists, and that has got almost into their DNA. So, goes without saying, Shawan, that this is clearly a move aimed at wriggling out of the situation that Pakistan finds itself in. Also, because of the kind of floods that it has faced, it's in dire need of that bailout, whether it comes from IMF, whether it comes from the Americans. And that's why I think they will do whatever needs to be done in terms of perception management. So as Gursimran was mentioning, just 33 days from the FATF, the team has visited Pakistan just about a week back and a fortnight back. And the letter incidentally comes just ahead of that visit. The reports are emerging now, but the letter was written, I believe, sometime in the last week of August. Also remember, a similar letter was written by the Pakistanis to the Afghan regime, the Taliban regime in Kabul, in the month of January as well. So I think they have been building up a case that, Masood Azhar, whatever his designation by the global community, is not with us anymore. Whatever has to be done in Pakistan. In the possible scenario, 1% case that Masood Azhar is actually in Afghanistan, then obviously the Pakistanis clearly playing a game where they are really willing to sacrifice the Taliban also, given the fact that they brought them to power in Kabul effectively and played a double game with the Americans. So I think they are in a deep mess of their own making. And irrespective of where Masood Azhar is found tomorrow, remember, as I said, this is the second letter they have written to Taliban and every time denied. But this ping pong continues typically always. So in the case of January letter also, the FATF plenary was happening in February. And now with this letter coming in just ahead of the FATF visit to Pakistan and then the plenary happening in Paris in October, this is clear case of Pakistan doing what it can do best, and that's hoodwinking the world community when it comes to its cohabitation with terror.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek, for putting this into perspective, and also Gursimran for getting us the latest news. Perhaps, Abhishek, we'll come back to you as we're getting in one more big breaking news coming in a short while from now. Abhishek will be back with you. Shifting focus now to the other story that we're getting for you on This Is Exclusive. This is undoubtedly a big win for our forces. The Indian Coast Guard and the Gujarat ATS busted an attempt to smuggle the drugs into the country. 40 kilograms of heroin worth over 200 crore rupees was seized in this operation. Republic has now learned of the foreign link to the case. Gujarat police says a Nigerian kingpin was behind the entire drug smuggling operation, who is in fact in jail. A Pakistani handler is suspected to be behind the supply of the drugs. We are seeing that essentially a pattern that is emerging, especially in these drug busts in the state of Gujarat. We'll try and go across to my colleague Priyanka Sharma, who's getting us the latest details, exclusive details on the investigation that's being carried out, a joint operation of the Gujarat ATS as well as the Coast Guard. The big breaking news now coming in, Priyanka, is the global link that is emerging. The Nigerian link, that's first that we'll look into, and the other big breaking news that will come in a short while from now. First, if you can just throw light on the Nigerian link.
Well, yes, absolutely, Shravan, as you pointed out, a big win for our forces, a big win for the Gujarat police, as well as they had gathered this intelligence of this nexus that they had been investigating for quite some time. Now, this is another such drug bust that has been made in a joint operation with the Gujarat ATS and the Indian Coast Guard. Now, off the coast of Jakhau, near the IMBL, we are being told around 40 nautical miles inside. In fact, we had seen that the police officials shared this information of a Pakistani boat that had trespassed, and of course there were 6 Pakistani nationals that had been on board of the boat as well. And in that very extreme weather as well, the Gujarat police and the ICG had gone and intercepted that boat and then interrogated these 6 Pakistani nationals that had been found on board of this boat as well. In fact, they had gotten intel before as well that there was narcotics that was being pushed into the Indian soil once again via the Gujarat port, this time from Jakhau. And before it had reached Jakhau itself, it had been intercepted and the boat had also been checked. After which we had seen that 40 kg of heroin that had also been seized, which is priced about rupees 200 crore in the international market as well. Now, that being said, as you rightly pointed out, this is about a global nexus that is now being uncovered by the Gujarat police with the Gujarat ATS as well, who is also telling us that there are 2 major kingpins. And this is a very worrisome point of this entire drug bust that has been made by the Gujarat police, that there are 2 kingpins inside of the Punjab jails. Now, one in Amritsar, and we are being told that these were the Nigerian nationals who had access to mobile phones. And not only that, they were in constant communication with the major kingpins who had been supplying these drugs. Now, we are also being told about this nexus is that the DGP Ashish Bhatia, in fact, had also clarified on these details that there is one kingpin in Turkey, and there's another Pakistani national who had been supplying these drugs, who had been pushing the heroin into the Indian soil, pushing narcotics in the Indian soil, and this is not the first time that he's done so. Apart from that, there are several other nationalities that have been involved. There are kingpins that are in fact involved from several other countries of the Middle East as well. We are being told that one from Turkey, one from Dubai as well, and all of them had been in communication, in constant communication with these Nigerian nationals via phones inside of the jail as well. So that is an alarming point of the entire investigation that has come to light, and of course the police is going deeper into who really had been the kingpin in trying to supply these narcotics and pushing narco-terrorism into the Indian soil via the Gujarat port.
Well, in fact, Priyanka, we're getting in some more breaking news on this very story. It's on the role of the Pakistani nationals, which is also under the lens. Gujarat police has essentially indicated to Republic TV that the drugs were sent by a Pakistani handler based in Karachi. So some of Pakistani nationals are said to be involved. We're also getting to know that the role of a Turkish national is under the lens, essentially showing you how this is a larger international racket. So that's the latest. 2 more links basically emerging right now as far as from this drug bust. One is that of a Pakistani national, and the other happens to be that of a Turkish national. 2 important links that we're getting to you on. This is exclusive. A story which is only getting bigger by every minute as the investigation progresses. More and more links that are emerging. My colleague Priyanka at the top of the story getting us full details of what's really happening and why there is a cause of concern at this point in time. In fact, if I can come back to you, Priyanka, the latest details coming in of Pakistani nationals which are under the scanner and the Turkish national, both basically under the scanner. So what is the link that has emerged so far? Anything with regards to how they are part of this entire planning and how the logistical supply was done?
Well, absolutely. This is the primary bust that has been made by the Gujarat ATS based on the intelligence that they had gathered over the last few months, because now they've also shared intel about how there were several drug busts earlier that had been linked to these kingpins who have been found to be inside of the Punjab jails, and also these Pakistani nationals, like you rightly mentioned, one kingpin who was sitting in Karachi who had been supplying these drugs as well, and how they had been connected to earlier drug busts that have been made. So what it essentially tells us is that the modus operandi is even getting more clear with respect to the investigation of the Gujarat police by the Gujarat ATS, who is looking into how the entire heroin in fact is being supplied inside of the Indian soil via the Gujarat port. Now, this is a similar modus operandi that they had seen being followed in Mundra drug bust, in the Kandla port drug bust, in the Porbandar drug bust as well. And now just a few weeks ago, I beg your pardon as well, the DRI had also busted another major consignment of heroin from the coast of Gujarat itself. So now all of that modus operandi is seeming to be similar to the earlier cases that had been uncovered by the Gujarat police, then be it in Morbi as well, where there were several members of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang that had found to be linked to these kingpins who have been busted this time in this drug bust as well. So the nexus runs deep, and they are saying that these are different people. There are different, people on the ground that are being used, but there are mainly some very few kingpins who are sitting in the countries like Pakistan, in Iran, in Afghanistan as well, who are pushing these drugs inside of the Indian soil using these Nigerian nationals who are situated in the northern states, especially in Delhi, in Punjab as well. Now, one of the shocking most revelations in this entire investigation was that the entire logistical communication that was being done to push these narcotics was done via mobile phones inside of the Punjab jails, and how they had been in constant communication with the kingpins in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and in Iran as well, Shaban.
Well, thank you very much, Priyanka, for getting us the latest details. The story that we'll be tracking very closely on other editions of This Is Exclusive. We'll get you the entire picture that is basically emerging as the investigation gains momentum. More and more revelations likely to be made. On the other side, we'll get you more details on the other big story that we're getting for you on Jacqueline Fernandez questioning and also on the liquor scam.
राजभाषा हिंदी के बिना ये राष्ट्र गूंगा है, हिंदी ही राष्ट्र को बोलता कर सकती है.
Political controversy erupts over Hindi Divas. What's wrong with celebrating Hindi? Debating tonight, 9 p.m.
23 unrecognized madrasas in Uttar Pradesh have been marked. A timeline has been fixed by the administration, according to which the committee was to be formed by the 10th of September, and after serving madrasas and reports are to be submitted to the district magistrate by the 5th of October.
पहले से हमारे कार्यालय में चिन्हित 23 मदरसे हैं चिन्हित जो गैर मान्यता प्राप्त हैं. इसमें शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित किया गया है, जिसमें ये था कि जिला अधिकारी महोदय के स्तर से 10 सितंबर तक तहसीलवार कमेटी गठित की जानी थी, जो गठित हो गई है. तो हम लोग टाइमली जो शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित की गई है उसके अंतर्गत ही सर्वे करते हुए सूचना शासन को शासन में प्रेषित कर देंगे.
Well, 4 sadhus were brutally attacked by villagers in the Lavanga village of Sangli in Maharashtra. According to the police, the 4 sadhus are residents of Uttar Pradesh. Reportedly, local residents could not understand their language, which led to a heated argument, due to which they were attacked. All sadhus have been admitted to the hospital by the police. Sources have claimed that they were attacked on suspicions of being members of a child lifter gang. No case has been registered so far. The High Court has set aside the reappointment of the Calcutta University Vice-Chancellor. The High Court said that the West Bengal government has no authority to do so. As per provisions of the Varsities Act, Sonali Banerjee was appointed as the Vice-Chancellor of the Calcutta University on the 28th of August in 2017 for 4 years, and her term had expired on the 27th of August this year. And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah is on a visit to Surat. The Home Minister will address Hindi Divas event on the occasion of the National Language Day. The All India Official Language Conference in Surat will be held today and tomorrow. The program will have 2 separate sessions. During one of the sessions, various topics related to Hindi language will be discussed. In a letter addressed to the Congress President Sonia Gandhi, Kamrul Islam Chaudhary called the party's Assam unit unstable. He also called the state unit directionless and confused. Chaudhary said that he and other workers of the party felt demoralized after no action was taken against the Congress MLAs who had cross-voted in the recently held presidential elections, despite public acknowledgement of the same by senior leaders of the party.
इस गाड़ी की लाइव तस्वीरें आप देख रहे हैं, इसमें सुकांतु मजूमदार को ले जाया जा रहा है.
We can see water cannons are used widely across this whole rally.
Now just look at that. The police force are now advancing. Drone fighting is still on.
Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has said that the government will conduct a survey of all madrasas in the state. He said that surveys will be done properly as these institutions are very important.
समय समय पर अनेक जगह से अनेक प्रकार की बातें आती हैं, इसलिए एक बार मदरसों का ठीक प्रकार से सर्वे होना बहुत ज़रूरी है और हम इनका सर्वे करवाएंगे, क्योंकि ये संस्थाएं भी हमारी ठीक होनी चाहिए, इसलिए सर्वे बहुत ज़रूरी है।
Army red flags obstacles in Agnipath recruitment in Punjab. Says the rallies will go on as planned. Blame game over Agnipath scheme. Chief Minister Man backs the scheme, but his minister questions it. Congress Mukt Goa is a reality now as 8 Congress MLAs dump party. Congress Goa unit merges with the BJP. In the dock for rupees 200 crore scam, Jacqueline Fernandez quizzed by Delhi police as a suspect. The questioning continued.
Now, why he is raising this issue? By raising this issue, he wanted to break this country, this unity, this country's unity, he wanted to break it. This is our question.
Debate over Hindi Divas. JDS protests outside Karnataka Assembly. Uproar over attack on sadhus in Maharashtra's Sangli. 6 arrested, police says for the probe on. All right, let's begin the bulletin with an important development in India's geostrategic neighborhood. India has expressed concern over the United States government's assistance to the Pakistan government to bolster its air fleet. Rajnath Singh has just tweeted, and I quote, "I conveyed India's concern at the recent US decision to provide sustenance package for Pakistan's F-16 fleet. Look forward to continuing dialogue with Secretary Austin to further consolidating India-US partnership." That's significant because after a gap of almost 6 years, Pakistan is all set to get maintenance spare parts for its F-16 squadrons, thus bolstering its overall defense posture. Of course, the US has maintained that they're doing it because they want to help Pakistan in its anti-terror operations. Let's go to Niranjan on that note. Niranjan, Defense Minister of India, really putting the onus entirely on the Americans and actually mentioning Secretary Lloyd Austin's name in the tweet, making it clear that India is mighty annoyed and is making its displeasure known.
Absolutely, and this is Abhishek, and you know that there's been a lot of discomfort. I wouldn't say a little discomfort. There's been a lot of discomfort over the Biden administration approval of $450 million F-16 fighter jet fleet. They're calling it a sustainment program to Pakistan to help meet current and future counter-terror threats in what is being seen as America's first major security assistance to Islamabad in over 4 years. So after 4 years, many people asking what changed? What changed? And in 2018, Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump, I beg your pardon. Donald Trump had suspended the $2 billion deal in security aid to Islamabad for failing to clamp down on the Afghan Taliban and the Haqqani network terror groups and dismantle their safe havens in the country. So you know what Donald Trump did? Biden is overturning that, and he's giving them the benefit of doubt. And I think there's a lot of discomfort in India. There's also a notification to the U.S. Congress that came in today, where the State Department, that was last week, where the State Department said it has approved this possible foreign military sale. They call it a foreign military sale of F-16 for sustainment and related equipment for estimated costs of $450 million. Claiming it will sustain Islamabad's capability to meet current and future counter-terror threats by maintaining the F-16 fleet. Now, the whole point is, I mean, we've known in the past, ironically, the different places where Pakistan has used these jets. Of course, once or twice on the border with India. We know about the skirmishes that have happened. And Pakistan is a rogue country. You can never take them at face value. They're giving them the benefit of doubt, Abhishek. And I think you'll be able to tell us a little bit more perhaps on how the Indian administration is looking at it. Will America trust Pakistan? Seems like they will. Did they call off this deal earlier? Yes, they did. Are they renewing the deal again? Yes, they are. Is it good news for Pakistan? Yes. Is it good news for India? No, it's not, because we know where they're going to use these jets, Abhishek. They'll use it in Afghanistan. They'll use it near the borders with India. We're not worried, but I think there's a lot of discomfort over this, Abhishek.
Absolutely. India conveying its discomfort and annoyance to the Americans on their giving sustenance package to Pakistan, which bolsters their F-16 fleet and makes it relevant again in India's geostrategic neighborhood. Moving on, getting another breaking news from the national capital, another crackdown. Another crackdown on corruption in Delhi. Now, Delhi LG has ordered action against 5 police officials. Delhi police has been asked to take action against those cops for the alleged inaction. In fact, this is coming in from the office of the Lieutenant Governor, in which, based on complaints received and after noticing that action was not being taken by Delhi police, he has now asked action against 5 police officials, including of the sub-inspector rank. We'll get you more details on this important development coming in. In fact, Aishwarya is live with us. Aishwarya, Harsha is live with us. Harsha, the Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena continues his crusade against corruption, first against the ministers in the Delhi government, and now even against Delhi police. What more details can you share on this action by the Delhi LG against those police officers?
Exactly, Abhishek. We are getting to know that LG continues to take action against all those who are involved in the corruption, be it Aam Aadmi Party minister or be it the corruption which were done on the DTC bus, on the purchase of DTC buses. But right now, I'll read out the note for you. The action which has been taken by LG VK Saxena against 5 Delhi cops, which includes 2 SHOs, 2 SIs, and 1 ASI of Delhi police. And it is the matter of 8th of December of 2018, when a call was received on PCR of Shri Musa, who was physically assaulted by Fareed Shan Ali with kicks and first blows. At that time, the IO and the ASI and the SI who were present at that time at the police station, they didn't take proper action. They didn't go to the stop, and lapses were found in their action and didn't do their duty as a police officer. So on all this, LG has now taken action and has suspended them. The action should be taken against these 5 cops, and we are getting to know that this was a complaint which was registered by Asma Bibi at the police complaints authority on 15th of 1/2019. So right now, this is incident of 8th of 12 of 2018, and now LG has ordered action against 5 police cops, which we are getting to know. So against corruption and against the lapses and unlawful duties which is done by Delhi police officials. Now this LG has taken action, and these 5 police officials will be removed or suspended from their duties, and LG has asked to take a right now action against them. Abhishek, back to you.
Thank you, Harsha, for those details. Moving on, in another unique protest against pothole-riddled roads in Karnataka, a man performed Urulu Seve, a traditional ritual in Udupi, against the pothole menace. Here's more in this report from Bengaluru.
In yet another unique protest against the pothole menace, a man performed a traditional ritual in the Udupi district of Karnataka. Not only did the man perform an aarti, but also broke into an Urulu Seve. Watch how, condemning the pothole-riddled holes in the state, the man rolled on the highways protesting to wake up the politicians on the condition of the roads. The social worker also broke a coconut on the damaged road. Dressed in saffron color attire, the visuals of the man performing the ritual on the ground has gone viral on social media, sparking a massive debate. And as the pothole menace continues to grip the state of Karnataka, it's India's fight against potholes now. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Well, that was some innovation. Hopefully the authorities would have a look at it. At least 11 people, moving on into Bihar now, at least 11 people were critically injured after two unidentified gunmen opened fire at least 5 locations at people for about 40 minutes. One person was killed in the incident. Nitish Kumar has been on record saying this seems like a conspiracy, but the police is still not able to find the main culprit. Let's look at this report.
One person was killed and 11 others critically injured as two motorcycle-borne gunmen went on a rampage in Bihar's Begusarai district, firing indiscriminately at people in crowded areas. The gunmen opened fire at Malhipur Chowk in Begusarai town in the evening, targeting shops in the busy area. Panicked people started running for their lives, while shopkeepers fled, leaving their shops open.
के उद्भेदन के लिए हमने 4 विशेष टीमों का गठन किया है। ये टीमें लगातार कल हमारे जो पड़ोसी जिला हैं और हमारे जिलों के अंदर जहां भी संभावित ठिकाने थे अपराधियों के आने के और जाने के, सभी जगह सीसीटीवी फुटेज को चेक किया गया है और सभी जगहों पे लगातार छापेमारी की गई है। टोटल 10 लोग घायल हुए थे, उन सभी का इलाज चल रहा है विभिन्न अस्पतालों में। मैं कल खुद सभी अस्पतालों में जाकर रात को उनसे मिला था।
BJP leader and Union Minister Giriraj Singh, who has served as the Bihar Panchayati Raj Minister and who also happens to be the MP from the constituency of Begusarai, spoke on the incident.
40-50 मिनट तक तांडव नृत्य होता और मुख्यमंत्री लाचार दिखते। ये लग रहा है सत्ता के मोह में धृतराष्ट्र हो गए हैं, धृतराष्ट्र की भूमिका में हो गए हैं। लेकिन आज जंगल राज का पर्यायवाची आप बना दिए हैं जनता राज, जहां बेखौफ अपराधी गोलियां चला रहे हैं। आप आज बिहार में मुख्यमंत्री नाम का कोई चीज नहीं है, मुखौटा मुख्यमंत्री बन के रह गए हैं, असली मुख्यमंत्री कोई और है।
The miscreants then proceeded to at least 4 more locations in Begusarai and continued to fire at people. BJP MLA Shahnawaz Hussain met the injured and the families of the victims following the incident.
बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, बिहार किस दिशा की ओर जा रहा है। अपराधियों का मनोबल बढ़ गया है और ये अपराधियों का मनोबल बढ़ाने वाले जो लोग हैं उनको बिहार की जनता कभी क्षमा नहीं करेगी।
A 30-year-old man, Chandan Kumar, was killed and 11 others were critically injured in the mayhem. Security has been beefed up in Begusarai, with all entry points being barricaded after the incident. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Well, moving on, a short break on the other side. In the dock for 200 crore scam, Jacqueline Fernandez quizzed by Delhi police as a suspect. Debate over Hindi Divas. JDU protests outside Karnataka Assembly.
At Amity, we believe students should have an all-round exposure. The Study Abroad program gives students the option to do 5 weeks or more at any of the Amity campuses across the world in cities like New York, San Francisco, London, Melbourne, Dubai, Singapore, etc. A truly unique opportunity only at Amity.
And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah is on a visit to Surat. The Home Minister will address Hindi Divas event on the occasion of the National Language Day. The All India Official Language Conference in Surat will be held today and tomorrow. The program will have 2 separate sessions. During one of the sessions, various topics related to Hindi language will be discussed. In a letter addressed to the Congress President Sonia Gandhi, Kamrul Islam Chaudhry called the party's Assam unit unstable. He also called the state unit directionless and confused. Chaudhry said that he and other workers of the party felt demoralized after no action was taken against the Congress MLAs who had cross-voted in the recently held presidential elections, despite public acknowledgement of the same by senior leaders of the party.
इस गाड़ी की लाइव तस्वीरें आप देख रहे हैं, इसमें सुखांतु मजूमदार को ले जाया जा रहा है।
we can see water cannons are used widely across this whole rally.
Now just look at that! The police force are now advancing! Sword fighting is still on!
Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has said that the government will conduct a survey of all madrasas in the state. He said that surveys will be done properly as these institutions are very important.
समय समय पर अनेक जगह से अनेक प्रकार की बातें आती हैं, इसलिए एक बार मदरसों का ठीक प्रकार से सर्वे होना बहुत ज़रूरी है और हम इनका सर्वे करवाएंगे, क्योंकि ये संस्थाएं भी हमारी ठीक होनी चाहिए, इसलिए सर्वे बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Getting some breaking details now of the country observing Hindi Divas. The Home Minister spoke on several occasions today, and Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, Cooperatives Minister, said that Hindi is the friend of all Indian languages and it unites the whole nation in the thread of unity.
राजभाषा हिंदी के बिना ये राष्ट्र गूंगा है, हिंदी ही राष्ट्र को बोलता कर सकती है.
Well, addressing the country on the Hindi Divas, Home Minister Amit Shah has stated that all languages are important for the country. JDS leaders have staged a protest at Gandhi statue in Vidhana Saudha in Bengaluru over Hindi Divas. JDS leader, former Karnataka Chief Minister Kumaraswamy, leading that protest, calling the Hindi Divas an attempt to divide.
23 unrecognized madrasas in Uttar Pradesh have been marked. A timeline has been fixed by the administration, according to which the committee was to be formed by the 10th of September, and after serving madrasas and reports are to be submitted to the district magistrate by the 5th of October.
पहले से हमारे कार्यालय में चिन्हित 23 मदरसे हैं चिन्हित, जो गैर मान्यता प्राप्त हैं. इसमें शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित किया गया है, जिसमें ये था कि जिलाधिकारी महोदय के स्तर से 10 सितंबर तक तहसीलवार कमेटी गठित की जानी थी, जो गठित हो गई है. तो हम लोग टाइमली, जो शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित की गई है, उसके अंतर्गत ही सर्वे करते हुए सूचना शासन को ससमय प्रेषित कर देंगे.
Well, 4 sadhus were brutally attacked by villagers in the Lavanga village of Sangli in Maharashtra. According to the police, the 4 sadhus are residents of Uttar Pradesh. Reportedly, local residents could not understand their language, which led to a heated argument, due to which they were attacked. All sadhus have been admitted to the hospital by the police. Sources have claimed that they were attacked on suspicions of being members of a child lifter gang. No case has been registered so far.
All right, we are cutting to live pictures coming in from Buckingham Palace, where ceremonies associated with the last rites of Queen Elizabeth II are going on. In fact, the coffin of Queen arrived at Buckingham Palace yesterday evening, and it rested overnight in the bow room. And now the coffin is being taken to the King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery at the Palace of Westminster. These are ceremonies taking place at the Westminster, and we are bringing you pictures live from the Buckingham Palace. In fact, at this ceremony, a procession would take the coffin of the Queen in a gun carriage of the King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery to the Palace of Westminster. There is a huge line to view the late monarch's coffin. These are pictures coming in from London. where Queen Elizabeth II's body is lying in a state. The ceremony is full of regal symbolism, and we have seen emotions coming out for the loved monarch by the Britishers. She was the queen for the longest period of time, 70 years. And you can see the queues for the queen. Hundreds of thousands of people there who want to view their late monarch's coffin, the late monarch, for one last time, pay their respects and show their affection, deep affection for the Queen. It's a mammoth logistical challenge and an exercise. Heads of governments, heads of states from around the world would be traveling to London to participate in the funeral, which takes place at Westminster Abbey. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, would be travelling, as announced by the Ministry of External Affairs today. And we are seeing the British Defence Forces carrying out those ceremonies even as the Queen's coffin lies in state at the Palace of Westminster. The house is, I believe, this is Buckingham Palace, and there would be the coffin would be taken to the Palace of Westminster to lie in state. During the lying in state period, the Queen's closed coffin rests on a raised platform which is called catafalque inside the Westminster Hall in the Palace of Westminster, and members of the public would be going past the Queen paying their respects. These are pictures coming in live from London as of now at Buckingham Palace, and the body would be moved to the Westminster for lying in state for 24 hours. All right, on that note, a short break.
इस गाड़ी की लाइव तस्वीरें आप देख रहे हैं, इसमें सुकांतु मजुमदार को ले जाया जा रहा है.
We can see water cannons are used widely across this whole rally.
Now just look at that! The police force are now advancing! Sword fighting is still on!
Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has said that the government will conduct a survey of all madrasas in the state. He said that surveys will be done properly as these institutions are very important.
समय समय पर अनेक जगह से अनेक प्रकार की बातें आती हैं, इसलिए एक बार मदरसों का भी ठीक प्रकार से सर्वे होना बहुत ज़रूरी है और हम इनका सर्वे करवाएंगे, क्योंकि ये संस्थाएं भी हमारी ठीक होनी चाहिए, इसलिए सर्वे बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Getting some breaking details now of the country observing Hindi Divas. The Home Minister spoke on several occasions today, and Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, Cooperatives Minister, said that Hindi is the friend of all Indian languages and it unites the whole nation in the thread of unity.
राजभाषा हिंदी के बिना ये राष्ट्र गूंगा है, हिंदी ही राष्ट्र को बोलता कर सकती है.
Well, addressing the country on the Hindi Divas, Home Minister Amit Shah has stated that all languages are important for the country. JDS leaders have staged a protest at Gandhi statue in Vidhana Saudha in Bengaluru over Hindi Divas. JDS leader, former Karnataka Chief Minister Kumaraswamy, leading that protest, calling the Hindi Divas an attempt to divide.
23 unrecognized madrasas in Uttar Pradesh have been marked. A timeline has been fixed by the administration, according to which the committee was to be formed by the 10th of September, and after serving madrasas and reports are to be submitted to the district magistrate by the 5th of October.
पहले से हमारे कार्यालय में चिन्हित हो 23 मदरसे हैं चिन्हित जो गैर मान्यता प्राप्त हैं। इसमें शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित किया गया है, जिसमें ये था कि जिलाधिकारी महोदय के स्तर से 10 सितंबर तक तहसीलवार कमेटी गठित की जानी थी, जो गठित हो गई है। तो हम लोग टाइमली जो शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित की गई है उसके अंतर्गत ही सर्वे करते हुए सूचना शासन को शासन में प्रेषित कर देंगे।
Well, 4 sadhus were brutally attacked by villagers in the Lavanga village of Sangli in Maharashtra. According to the police, the 4 sadhus are residents of Uttar Pradesh. Reportedly, local residents could not understand their language, which led to a heated argument, due to which they were attacked. All sadhus have been admitted to the hospital by the police. Sources have claimed that they were attacked on suspicions of being members of a child lifter gang. No case has been registered so far. The High Court has set aside the reappointment of the Calcutta University Vice-Chancellor. The High Court said that the West Bengal government has no authority to do so. As per provisions of the Varsities Act, Sonali Banerjee was appointed as the Vice-Chancellor of the Calcutta University on the 28th of August in 2017 for 4 years, and her term had expired on the 27th of August this year. And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah is on a visit to Surat. The Home Minister will address Hindi Divas event on the occasion of the National Language Day. The All India Official Language Conference in Surat will be held today and tomorrow. The program will have 2 separate sessions. During one of the sessions, various topics related to Hindi language will be discussed. In a letter addressed to the Congress President Sonia Gandhi, Kamrul Islam Chaudhry called the party's Assam unit unstable. He also called the state unit directionless and confused. Chaudhry said that he and other workers of the party felt demoralized after no action was taken against the Congress MLAs who had cross-voted in the recently held presidential elections, despite public acknowledgement of the same by...
Right, back to the pictures coming in from London, Buckingham Palace, where the Queen Elizabeth II's coffin is now being taken out of the palace and to Westminster, where it would lie in state for 3 days now. The procession now going is of a gun carriage of the King's Troop, Royal Horse Artillery, and they're coming out of the palace, Buckingham Palace, and on to Westminster, where the Queen's body would lie till September 19th, the day of the funeral. Short break.
At Amity, we believe students should have an all-round exposure. The study abroad program gives students the option to do 5 weeks or more at any of the Amity campuses across the world in cities like New York, San Francisco, London, Melbourne, Dubai, Singapore, etc. A truly unique opportunity only at Amity.
Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has said that the government will conduct a survey of all madrasas in the state. He said that surveys will be done properly as these institutions are very important.
समय समय पर अनेक जगह से अनेक प्रकार की बातें आती हैं, इसलिए एक बार मदरसों का ठीक प्रकार से सर्वे होना बहुत ज़रूरी है और हम इनका सर्वे करवाएंगे, क्योंकि ये संस्थाएं भी हमारी ठीक होनी चाहिए, इसलिए सर्वे बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Getting some breaking details now of the country observing Hindi Divas. The Home Minister spoke on several occasions today, and Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, Cooperatives Minister, said that Hindi is the friend of all Indian languages and it unites the whole nation in the thread of unity.
राजभाषा हिंदी के बिना ये राष्ट्र गूंगा है, हिंदी ही राष्ट्र को बोलता कर सकती है.
Well, addressing the country on the Hindi Divas, Home Minister Amit Shah has stated that all languages are important for the country. JDS leaders have staged a protest at Gandhi statue in Vidhana Saudha in Bengaluru over Hindi Divas. JDS leader, former Karnataka Chief Minister Kumaraswamy, leading that protest, calling the Hindi Divas an attempt to divide.
23 unrecognized madrasas in Uttar Pradesh have been marked. A timeline has been fixed by the administration, according to which the committee was to be formed by the 10th of September, and after serving madrasas and reports are to be submitted to the district magistrate by the 5th of October.
पहले से हमारे कार्यालय में चिन्हित 23 मदरसे हैं चिन्हित जो गैर मान्यता प्राप्त हैं। इसमें शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित किया गया है, जिसमें ये था कि जिलाधिकारी महोदय के स्तर से 10 सितंबर तक तहसीलवार कमेटी गठित की जानी थी, जो गठित हो गई है। तो हम लोग टाइमली जो शासन द्वारा टाइमलाइन निर्धारित की गई है उसके अंतर्गत ही सर्वे करते हुए सूचना शासन को ससमय प्रेषित कर देंगे।
Well, 4 sadhus were brutally attacked by villagers in the Lavanga village of Sangli in Maharashtra. According to the police, the 4 sadhus are residents of Uttar Pradesh. Reportedly, local residents could not understand their language, which led to a heated argument, due to which they were attacked. All sadhus have been admitted to the hospital by the police. Sources have claimed that they were attacked on suspicions of being members of a child lifter gang. No case has been registered so far. The High Court has set aside the reappointment of the Calcutta University Vice Chancellor. The High Court said that the West Bengal government has no authority to do so. As per provisions of the Varsities Act, Sonali Banerjee was appointed as the Vice Chancellor of the Calcutta University on the 28th of August in 2017 for 4 years, and her term had expired on the 27th of August this year. And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah is on a visit to Surat. The Home Minister will address Hindi Divas event on the occasion of the National Language Day. The All India Official Language Conference in Surat will be held today and tomorrow. The program will have 2 separate sessions, during one.
Pictures coming in from London. Huge lines to view the monarch's, the late monarch's coffin in his queue fit for a queen. Queen Elizabeth II's lying in state. It's called the lying in state, an occasion of UK's symbolism and people lining up to pay tribute. Hundreds of thousands of people who want to view the late UK monarch's coffin will be testing and have tested by now the Britain's famous queuing skills to their limit. Thousands of people gathering here as you look at these visuals coming in what's been reportedly a logistical challenge, as queue management experts, behavioral scientists, to create not so much as a temporary community. 10 miles or 16 kilometers. That's King Charles there. You see him marching. King Charles II also marching. This is a 10-mile queuing infrastructure that's in place in London as we speak, including barriers, more than 500 portable toilets along a route leading to Parliament's Westminster Hall, where the coffin will rest eventually.